I missed it somehow when I looked in there earlier today. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have to sign it.
Oh.
Did you send it to Tiffany?
I missed it somehow. I missed it somehow when I looked.
Yep. Oh, I had this.
What was it charging?
It's charged. So it's. He said, there's no way that. He didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so
How would they hold it?
that's why I'm saying, yeah, I want you to go there. What about, you know,
You make phone calls though.
and I think. There's a way. Yeah. Yeah, no, oh, it's free therapy.
But they're gonna kind of like suck all the parts into it once the
Oh,
considerable down.
we can say.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think there's ways we can do that. Carries.
We want to be sure.
Paid children, trust, family trust. And it's. Marcus, who takes care of trimming around signs and stuff like that, so we can.
Well,
See them.
then I don't.
Because.
Depends.
Well,
So when it's charging, usually it's the first one, so Jason, just did not parking there, this one. Okay, it's on city, upgrade the top part of the skies. So it's over.
I'm talking about the one by my house, the one that goes to Smithfield. 450, and then you go down there, and on the right hand side, it's no homes, the pine trees, and the other side, there's. I had a neighbor complaining to me. About you couldn't, there's supposed to be no parking signs on that side of the road. And so I drove over there and I found 3 of them. But they're hard to see. They need to be cut down or whatever. They're just get the foliage. I can see how you wouldn't see them. Or at least 2 of them.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, the agenda
And then also while we're doing it,
Yes.
you need to do that stop sign going on to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The same company that was 400.
And I was in good progress.
So what's the,
She said,
What's that?
what address? Do the trim.
On the corner of,
Small.
I'm
sure if you realize.
I can show you on a map. Do you have a map?
You noticed? And I said, yeah, so.
Where's the center?
Yeah.
Okay, so we go down here.
So
Yeah.
it's great.
And then we go up. It's 450. Okay, it's right here.
They did it up here.
See right here.
Oh, yes.
That stop sign.
That's the problem, we'll contact. It happens every year, we'll contact some of these.
And along here.
Along
here, so there's probably one here, one here, one here.
He's that guy.
No parking with an arrow, they need to be trimmed. They're, I can see how they miss it, and I noticed the foliage is getting bad on the stop sign there.
Yeah, she was
Again, when you're coming down, you almost have to pull out to, and then look real quick.
That's what.
Alright, I got that noted. So,
And then I had another guy call me and I went up there and looked at it and the stop signs were there on 800.
It's about that time, Mayor.
And 450. Were they just put up or did he not see them or? It's a dead end, the one that goes, you know, the
And then.
800.
And then just to the next-
We're just gonna next
at the end, it goes across the street into the dead end.
It's kind of like.
There's a stop sign.
Thank you.
On this side and the one on this side coming back.
And then the council
But
can go back.
supposedly there hasn't been. People have just been blowing through that. I know where I live and now I always stop, but I can't remember if there's a stop sign there or not, but I went up there and it's in now, so
Let's go.
either he didn't see him or.
We're gonna start. So real quick, this meeting, we have the Zoom option, we have to have state law, so it'd be a good idea when the open comments start. Be specific, if there's anyone on Zoom who wants to
Okay.
comment. Just remember that. We're taking it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Going, all right. Hello, and we want to welcome you to our Hyde Park City Council meeting for August 27th. I appreciate all those that come and attend and be involved in the city. I first want to excuse Stephanie. She is out of town on family business. And also the chief, he is attending services over in Tremont. And if you didn't know, one of the officers had worked for us for a few years, Eric Estrada. And so he's over there attending the services there. We're also looking, I think, is Gerald on? Gerald, he was going to try and chime in. Okay, Gerald was he may catch up to us. He's been out of town and he's trying to catch up to us on Zoom as well. But we're changing the item to Kurt Brower was going to lead us in a prayer and pledge if we could.
Our Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for the opportunity we have of living in this great land and especially this great city. We're grateful for the many blessings that we enjoy and pray that they'll help us to, as we conduct the business of the city, that we can do it in a manner that would be beneficial for the betterment and safety of our citizens. We ask a special blessing on Tremont and the families of those two officers that they lost, that they may be comforted, they may be blessed as they go through this extremely hard trial. We're grateful still that we have all we do have, and we pray for guidance and help in all that we do. We pray for these things and do it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Lead me in the pledge, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item of business on here is the acceptance of the council meeting from August 13th. Dave, do you have any comment?
I don't.
Tiffany?
None.
None for you, Kurt? So I'd look for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 13th.
I'll move that.
Got a motion from Kurt,
A
second
second.
from Dave. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Motion carried 3-0. The next item is to approve the agenda that I've already changed a little bit with Kurt. So there's no other changes that I have on there. If you don't, counsel, I'd look for a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended.
Or the
Or,
agenda.
excuse me,
yeah.
the agenda as amended.
I'll move that we accept the agenda as amended.
Got a motion from David
I'll second that.
and a second from Tiffany. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed with nay? Thank you. The next item that we have on the agenda is a time for open resident input on any item that isn't currently on the agenda, which obviously we have the tax, the property tax, and the final budget are on the agenda, and we'll have an open hearing for the property tax, so that will come later. But it's a time to have comments on any item that isn't on the agenda. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, and we also ask that you give them in a form of a question, a form of a statement, not a question. And know that if you have questions, you can reach out and talk to any of the council, the staff, myself, so that we can get some dialogue beforehand versus trying to come up with things as we go. It's the time to present to the council, and if the council may come back after all the public comment and ask questions, but it's a time to receive any input that the residents may have. So at this time, we would open it up for public input and invite you to come forward at this time. Having none, we'll close that public input portion and we'll go to the council business. I have a few items to report out on. On the 16th of September, we will be reviewing the draft presentation during our weekly meeting with Sunrise. It'll be at Sunrise office. We want to be able to get that presentation together and make it as clear and crisp and concise as possible. We have 2 phases of Wolfpack Way, and we put both of them on the ask, but we know that that's a heavy ask. So I just want to leave the second one on there, one phase on there to let them know that that's coming the next time around. So we'll truly be going after one of those. It's about 5.5 million is what we're looking for on that grant. Just as a reminder, tomorrow there's services up at USU for Eric Estrada. He's served with us for a few years. Don't know if you noticed the picture that they had in the paper. He had the North Park Police Department patch on the shoulder. That was the one that they put in there. Just a little update on DWA with the water line that's, I was going to say moving at the speed of government, but it's not that quick. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little, sorry, just a little softer today. The water line is going in. There's a couple of days that we're giving some grace time on, but they are, this week it got shut down again out here towards the front because drilling under the canal, we're putting that in, and they are up at about 500 east right now, continuing up to the tank. After getting it in, obviously there'll be some testing and things to do, but we've also got to, part of this improvement is to surface, put down new asphalt, curb and gutter along there as well on the north side of the street. So that is moving forward. Marcus, do you have anything else that you want to bring up?
Council, I apologize. My staff report was loaded into the box today. I've been a little under the weather these past couple days. There's nothing very pressing to report other than one thing I'd forgot to put in our staff report is we're wrapping up our audit of our stormwater system, and we have a lot to work on, but overall the state is happy with the progress that we are making and the speed that we are making it. So we're getting good feedback there and a lot of improvements to our policies and procedures.
Marcus, do you recall when Public Works will be going out with the hot or cold patches for potholes before? Is that,
I don't know how that information right now.
pardon?
I do not have that information right now.
One area that we need to, I've had some resident input. They need to look at that 575 East. There's some holes, as we know, with that road, some patches that we need to look at. So let's make sure that that's on the Brett's list.
Okay.
We usually repair as complaints come in and consider that as coming in.
We'll make a note.
Okay. The next item of business is to open a public hearing to take residents' input on the proposed tax increase to maintain the certified tax rate. Before we go into that, I want to explain what this means is the tax rate that the city has on the home stays the same. It's the state in the truth and taxation requirement says that if we had 1,000 roofs in the city, we collected X amount of dollars on property tax for those 1,000 residents. When let's say we added 100 new homes in the next year, the state would say, well, the amount of money that you obtained last year is your rate. Everything should go down. Even with that 100 new homes, you should collect the same amount as what you had the previous year. So in doing that, that doesn't take into consideration new infrastructure that the city now has to maintain, doesn't take into consideration newly levied bills that the state puts out on us, such as our moderate income housing or water and stormwater requirements. And it doesn't take into consideration any inflation and costs of materials going up as we try to maintain the infrastructure of the city. So if we maintain that same rate for the additional 100, the city is now picking up additional funds. If the value of the houses go up, we then are getting a higher tax amount of dollars. The tax rate is the same. It's just you pay more on if your house was 750,000, now it's $1 million, you're going to pay more taxes. Just on the county audit group is the one that sets the values of our homes. And there's a whole cycle that they go through on doing that, a 5-year cycle to cycle through all the age requirements of the homes. For example, I think one is like 1920 and earlier, and then they have a next band of homes. And in 5 years, they would have done a good cross sampling of the appraisals of homes. So that's how they're working that part of it. Also, I would have you note that the amount that we're projecting that would be increased, our all of our public safety requirements, fire department and police department, our property tax that we collect as a city doesn't cover that bill for the police and public services that way, emergency services. So that's where that money goes. So that it's kind of an offset. And hopefully as the long term, as we bring in, there's businesses, industries that's looking to come into Hyde Park, and as most of you probably know, that they are taxed at 100% property value versus your homes at 55%. That then can increase the funds of the tax revenue for the city, which might actually decrease the residential rate. As you get, if we only have 20% of our property taxes coming from commercial entities and 80% come from residential, that's one way to define the burden of taxes. But now if 40% is coming from commercial, it can reduce the burden on the residential. So there's offsets, and we've been actively working with businesses to come, and hopefully we'll have, there's one groundbreaking that's coming up in September. So it's, the tax rates, and definitely not something that we take lightly. We have a lot of consternation. We look at other communities. I know all of the communities on the west side of the valley that do not have commercial businesses. They're the highest tax rates in the valley. As you come along the east side, where we have commercial entities or commercial businesses, our rates are lower because we are able to leverage and bring it in off of the commercial side of the property. So know that Danya does a great job on our budget, and I think we've been speaking about this for some time, and I hope you take that into consideration. So we'll open it up now for public input, and if you would just come forward and state your name and give us some input on what you would like to on this proposed tax rate. So we'll open it up at this time. Yeah, 3 minutes if, okay. Whoa,
Oh, boy.
that's hooked to an electric prod in my chair.
Great. I'm Shannon Rhodes.
I knew.
So I have no issues with, funding the police. Obviously, I grew up in Tremonton, so I understand
Yeah,
now more than ever the importance of that. I think the thing is, I get what we're looking at here, but we're also looking at Cache County School District raising us a substantial amount. So while it may only be 10.49% from the city, then we're asking for an additional amount from them. And my concern is if I'm going to be paying more, I'm going to expect more as a resident here. And so I'm glad that you mentioned the businesses, because that was my biggest issue, is what are we doing to bring in more revenue to our city that is not going to come out of my pocket? Because to me, I'll never understand why I have to drive to Smithfield or North Logan to pick up a gallon of milk, because there's no store in Hyde Park that I can get that without paying a lot more money for it. And so I just want to know what plans the city council has to continue to pursue businesses and to continue to pursue other revenue, so that we're not always every couple years having to do this again. Because I'm a single person, I don't even have kids in the school district. So I look at that percent and I go, holy crap. And now I'm going to pay property tax on top of that to the city. And so it's just a lot of money to ask of people. And so I'm just going to ask more from you guys to be a little more transparent with what the plan is as far as revenue, other revenue besides our property tax.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else with comment? Having none, we'll close that. Did you raise your hand or? Oh, sure. Nope, I closed it. So it's not just.
Okay. I'm Harry Latvikowski, Hyde Park resident. According to the notice of proposed tax increase Hyde Park City, it says in here, this is on the utah.gov website.
Yeah.
It says that this is a 10.5% increase in the tax rate. It lists that on a $800,000 residence, I'm sorry, $600,000 resident, the tax will increase from $340 $30 to about 360, which is about 10%.
Mhm.
So this is a fairly substantial rate increase. And I'm not sure who's getting a 10% raise here, because most of the rest of us aren't.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's a substantial increase in rates. And if anything, I think the property, the property values have been going up, which should be increasing the revenue to the city just because of that. So I'm just really surprised, and this seems like a very large tax increase. Now, you say that the property taxes don't cover the fire and police department, but some have, it's been covered by other taxes in the past, obviously, if that's the case. I don't know what's changed now that's requiring that we need a 10% tax increase.
okay, thank you. Any other comment? Having none, we'll close that public portion. I'll tell you that I had a conversation with the school district actually this week on their public hearing is tomorrow night. I think it's at the south end of the valley. And I'm told them I'd much rather be dealing with the one I'm dealing with than the one they're dealing with. But and I was talking to the CFO for the school district. He said that he has to follow the same noticing that we do. What isn't on there is the debt that's retiring or the debt that they're restructuring in the school district. So although it's being advertised as a tax increase that way, he said with the retirement and restructuring, he said it'd be very little, if any, on an actual overall bill. That's what I got from him on the school district. I don't know. I'll see when I get my tax notice. But that's what they told me on the school one. I don't, whether that's correct or not, I don't know. As far as businesses, we have, like I said, a groundbreaking tentatively the latter part of September for a medical complex that's doing a substantial investment in the city. We've been working with property owners. The big thing that they are challenged with is and I think you're in real estate, I thought, isn't
No,
roads?
Sharon's not. She's a social.
Okay, anyway, different things require a certain number of rooftops. That's what they're looking at is population within proximity. And we're getting to that point. There's, as I understand it, a couple of large parcel owners that are talking with companies where you could buy grocery, where you can buy milk closer, but we'll see. And nothing has come into us on that part. We're working with employers, big companies to come in, and hopefully that's going to come out in this fall. So we're actively working to try and recruit businesses and have business developers as they're developing along the Wolfpack Way, requiring a certain percentage be dedicated for the commercial. It's a matter of getting the commercial to come this far north, and that has to do with population. So we're working on it, trying to do it. I think it's going to happen. They're gradually coming. We've had some developments. 3 of the corners at Green Canyon High School are in Hyde Park, and we have proposals on all 3 of those corners. That still doesn't mean you can drive down the road. You're still driving pretty much essentially into North Logan, but that is our commercial area on 3 corners at Green Canyon High School. As far as the tax rate, it's advertised as a tax rate increase, but our tax rate is staying at 0.0011. It's similar to, and the state doesn't live with what they require on the cities. If you paid $3 for a gallon of milk and the next year during COVID, it went to $4.50, you're paying more sales tax on that gallon of milk because of the inflation of the milk. That's how it is with the houses. As the property house values go up, we collect more taxes. That's considered a tax increase. That's why we're having this public hearing now. our tax rate is, well, like, actually, for a number of years, it's hovered at 0.0011. That's a number you'll see on your tax statement when it comes to your home. That's what was last year and the year before, and it's proposed to be that same rate this coming year. It's just the values of the homes are, as this gentleman said, as they continue to go up, then we pay more taxes. And obviously, people are looking for more things that we can do, giving back into the city. I know Danya brought up a lot of the improvements we've been making in the city with roads, water, Wolfpack 700, the roundabout, the well, Bonneville Shoreline Trail, the sidewalk that we put in up here. That was all grant money that we've been doing. And in the last 3 years, it surprised me when Danya told me, is it 14, 15 million that we've received in grants. So that's getting the money that you pay in taxes that goes on the other side of the mountain, getting it back here to Hyde Park. And we're earnestly always working to try and get that. As you heard in one of my comments, that we're trying to go in after a $5.5 million grant this fall. So for Wolfpack Way, and hopefully we can, once that goes in, then you get the commercial, and then we have to plan and be smart about how we grow, where we grow, because we all like our quality of life. So we have to maintain that. And some of that means getting Google Fiber in, that means parks and trails. And so it's trying to control and maintain and grow where we can grow, and retain and maintain our quality of life in the other parts of the city. So that I've always told people that I live close enough yet far enough away from Logan. I like that. But apparently a lot of people have found that out. It's no longer a well-kept secret. So as we continue to grow, we got to be smart about how we do that as a city. And I think that comes into all of the plans we've done, master water plans, sewer plans, stormwater. We're working on that one now, trying to plan for the long term, how and where the city should grow, so that we can be smart about it, because we got one chance to get it right. So with that, on the close, I will turn it to the council for discussion. You've had the data sent to you as far as what various tax rates would be. You cannot propose anything higher. You can propose lower, and then it would just require taking funds out of other departmental areas to help us spread that out. But I'll turn it to you, council. If you have questions, Danya is here, Marcus and myself, we can try and give you some input. Do you have anything else on it, Marcus or Danya, that you could?
I was
Got to turn and look at you.
well, you don't have to. Better off if you don't. No, I was just going to say, I've seen the work and effort that's gone into the budget that's been created. I see the continued growth. I see all the things happening in the city, and I think the staff's done a great job in how the resources are being used, and tracking the budget and managing the assets that we have. And I just don't see that lowering the rate so that I don't pay extra money each month based on the value of my home. I think that'll get us in trouble. I think we see that in other cities that try to keep that rate low, but the growth continues to, or lower their rate to keep the taxes at the same amount. And then over years, as their cities continue to grow and they have more and more expenses, then at some point they've got to really jump that increase up. So I think a little each year to stay up with the growth is the right thing to do. So I would, my recommendation is to approve it.
I know I also, due to another board I sit on, I had an opportunity to speak with the chair of the Cache County Council. And the tax increase that they're having, they're actually increasing the tax rate. I pulled up data to look at what Hyde Park has done since 2016 and what Cache County has done since 2016. Cache County, it looks good. Hey, I didn't increase your taxes, but their revenues kept going down because they kept the tax rate keeping it, decreasing it each year because of the expansion in the county, more residents. So they were decreasing the tax rate. Their revenues for the county was going down. Hyde Park City maintained the same 0.0011. There was 1 or 2 years that we dipped and then it came back. And the revenue on the city was at least keeping up with inflation, keeping up with expanded expenses, things like that. So if you looked at it, it looked like an X. And I'm like, all right, because somebody in the county had said cities aren't pulling their weight. And before I open my mouth and put my foot in it, I want to look at the data behind, and nothing substantiated anything they had to say. So as I spoke to the county council member this week, I said, you've got a self-inflicted wound. This is what you guys created this. And now this is what you have to bear, that brunt of what you're doing in a public setting. And that's, as Dave said, if you just stay somewhat similar to where you're at, inflation will help you help the inflated costs of asphalt going up. And our inflated costs, unbelievable, the cost of pipe going into the streets, things like that. And I would say that we get tax funds from, there's other funding sources, but they also come in different colors. For example, our Class B and C road funds, the gas tax. That's a tax that we receive, but that can only be used on roads. So there's a few things that we have that can be in the general fund, but other funds that we receive come in with colors on it. They're flagged for roads, flagged for water or sewer, things like that. So we can't commingle that. So I appreciate the input. And Dave, Kurt?
I want the public to know that I feel what they're saying, because you can't argue that. I mean, we don't like it. I've got my eyes open big time just in a lot of the planning we do as a city that I have the responsibility to be part of. And that is some of the things that are out there that could cost us. I mean, we're an aging city, and there's things like pipes underneath the ground that are aging. And I know that we don't have the roads that we'd all like to have. But I think our staff and that does a great job. But would I like better ones? Absolutely. Do we have the money for it? No, we don't. Everything is, I'm not telling you anything nobody here that doesn't know, but things just keep going up, up, up. I just had some work done on my house, and pretty expensive. And they didn't give me a discount or because I was a council member or anything. But things are
Charge us more.
costly, and it's really we have to keep this city running, and just like this pipe out here, we'll all benefit, or our kids will probably benefit from that more than we will. But that's nice to have that well. It's going to be nice to have it tied in. And this year hasn't been a very good year as far as dryness. I mean, we could be headed for more problems. And so I appreciate the grants we've been able to get, because they have helped us immensely. not that think grants are the answer, but they come with strings too. But we wouldn't have some of the things we've got right now if it wasn't for that. I appreciate the work of our staff and the mayor. A lot of hours are put in on our behalf, and I appreciate it as council member. I see it now as a council member. Do I want to vote for this? No, but I will, because I think it's necessary. I don't want to get in that spiral of getting, what do we save by doing nothing this year? Everything goes down and lower. I don't want that to happen either. It's still not the answer, but I appreciate being able to speak towards it, Mayor.
Do you have anything, Tiffany?
Just I have similar thoughts. I feel like baby stepping it is better because our need for the need to meet the needs of our community, the taxes just don't cover it. And constantly we hear, why aren't my roads being plowed in the snow, in the winter? We don't have the snow plows to cover the work, and that's something we're working towards, getting another snow plow. I'm grateful that we revamped our general plan and that we're working that plan to do just that, to get commercial and bring that sales tax in so that maybe we don't have to keep this as our only tax source. But right now we don't have much alternative. If we want to meet the needs of our community, it's going to be on the shoulders of our community until we can increase that commercial base. But we're working hard to encourage it and to court those opportunities.
Yeah, I know Ms. Rhodes brought up the commercial, just as an FYI, out of all of the property tax, and I say this a bit tongue in cheek, with our thriving business sector that we have down there, we get 2.5, 3 times more money off that sales tax than what we do off of our residential. So she's absolutely right. Bringing that commercial and pushing developers, they want to build townhomes out, you're going to build commercial too. We want to get that business in there and get that tax base. That in turn will help us lighten the load and help the city out in the long term. I was just taking an inventory up here. There's 3 of us up here that are no longer in the workforce. So we understand it very clearly about tax increase and how that impacts us. I can ask for increase, but I tend to think we won't get it from pensions or our retirements. And someday, hopefully, Social Security will still be there for me. But if there's no other comments, council, you have all of the information in front of you. I would ask a motion on the item B, consider resolution 2025-12, a resolution adopting the certified tax rate of 0.0011. And like I said, you cannot go higher. You can recommend lower as a council. And I think you received an Excel sheet, what that does.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion from Kurt to approve the resolution 2025-12, adopting the certified tax rate of 0.0011. Is your second?
I'll second it.
Got a second from Tiffany. There's something I forgot to do. Marcus, do we have anybody on Zoom or anything? Okay, I wanted to make sure if they had an opportunity to chime in. So we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, those with nay say nay. Motion carries 3-0. I know we've had discussion with the other 2 council members and reviewing the finances and not speaking for them, but in my discussion, my impression is they support you in your decisions. The next item is to consider resolution 2025-13. We've had a public hearing on this, but it's a resolution adopting the Hyde Park City final budget. We no sooner this one would give Donya the relief until after the first of the year. When we start adjusting the budget and preparing for next year. So, council, do you have any questions on the budget? There's a large PDF file that was sent to you, or not sent to you, but it's inbox. Do you have any questions on that?
I don't.
Obviously, as we pass it, usually we do our mid-year adjustment. After the first of the year, we'll go through and be looking at that. But I think Donya's done a great job. We've never, since I've been working with you, that counts our age too much, but for a long time, I don't believe we've ever come in where we've overspent our budget. Donya's always been smart in budgeting and helping, and as we review and go through that, we've never come in and said, council, we're in the hole. And that's a good thing. I think that has a lot of wise long-term financial decisions on how we're trying to do things. For example, we're trying to procure some property for another park in the city. But we need to be smart about how we do this. And so we're figuring out some strategy. We in the northwest of Hyde Park. So we're looking to make sure that as we make decisions, we make them wise and how we let contracts, how we do different things. We took us 3 years to plan. I haven't heard if we got our snowplow in yet, but we've ordered it. It took us 3 years to save up enough for it, but that isn't the only cost. We have to have another person to drive it. We had the snowplows during the year that it snowed so much. We had the snowplows, but we can only work people a certain number of hours, and then they have to be off. And that's the way it is. I don't want somebody drowsy out there plowing the roads, and we'll be replacing a lot of mailboxes. So try to be smart about how we go about business.
Mayor, I do have one question.
Sure.
Is the budget on our website? Is there, where the public has access to that?
The tentative one has been there, but I'll replace it with this
Okay.
final budget.
Yeah.
So it is it will be available on the website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And as always, if anybody has questions, comments, thinks of something, Donya's usually the brain trust on all this stuff, but if there's better ways, we are always open, because I think we do, Hyde Park City does a lot on a shoestring budget. We need stronger shoestrings, and if we can figure out how to do things better, I'm always open.
And I just throw in that we've got residents who really step up well.
Yep.
Fireworks donated, hometown days, and other kinds of things that, so organizations, businesses, individuals that donate to make a difference for some of these events that we have. So
Yeah.
just shout out to all those good folks that help out too.
We have up at Lions Park, the lower Lions, it's got the old metal shed, or old metal roof pavilion. We got a donor that is donating funds for us to build another one, just like the other two that are in Lions Park, in the middle Lions and upper Lions. So we'll be getting a new pavilion, not paid with taxpayer dollars. That's a donation. So I think doing well. Council member Stephanie Allred's done well getting sponsors for our city celebration. We have a great time there. Yeah, we had a lot of good participation in donations. So I think that has worked well for the city. And the city is trying to look at other avenues of what, they may be small revenues, but what revenues are we letting slip through our fingers? And we're trying to close those gaps so that, you know, the big, heavy, low hanging things, they're all gone. We got to figure out other ways that not impacting our residents, that perhaps there's things that are available to the city that we just haven't had. So we're moving forward with those things. So we still have a motion and a second. Any more discussion, council?
We have not yet had a motion I think
No,
we
we
the
haven't.
budget, for the budget.
Oh,
we have.
that was the,
Still gotta do.
man, I was ready to adjourn, but
You were.
okay. I'd look for a motion for, on resolution 2025-13.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 2025-13.
I'll second it.
We got a tie, goes to
The Kirk.
Kurt. Okay. We got a motion from Tiffany, a second from Kurt on approving resolution 2025-13, adopting the Hyde Park City final budget. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed with nay? With that, I would ask council, we're at the time, do you have any, anything to input on any things that you've been looking at? I know the police commission, we've.
I was hoping that,
Well,
officer would be here tonight. Did anybody find out about that deer they had to kill?
That was,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, it was in your backyard.
If they think it was sick, they took
Yeah.
blood samples. They haven't heard back from it yet. But
Okay.
it just kind of wandered down there and walked in a bunch of circles and laid down and wasn't doing well. So they called the police and DW came out, put it down.
Yeah,
Asking for the
Monday
wasting.
morning,
It was a big.
it was, yeah, it was a buck.
Hmm.
But I saw it going on and I thought, I just will be Snoopy. So I went over and to see what was going on. But they had already taken care of the deer and
I think they're waiting to see.
yeah, they sent it in for tests, I think. That's why I was hoping
Some
we
disease
would
that
know.
wasting disease.
maybe, and they have to burn it if it does have that disease.
If that's the case, that's another problem.
Yeah, does that count towards our
Yeah.
60 deer right? Or that they have to?
I don't know. I don't know. Whether that counts on it. Do you have anything, Tiffany?
A couple things. I met with Principal Crosby at Green Canyon about the roundabout. And I stopped by the office, but you were sick and you were gone.
Okay.
But the Green Canyon would like to take, not ownership, they want to take they want
Responsibility.
responsibility, that's the word I'm looking for, to maintain and work with the city to improve that roundabout. He said that school would be willing to come up with the funds. They want the graduating classes to take some pride in the roundabout and the entrance to their school. And so they're looking to do some improvements with landscaping and lighting. And I told them that we probably would need a plan and it would need to be coordinated with the city and our public works. And with your permission, I'll be the liaison with the.
Did we
school.
have that one designed in our,
We do have a design. It is heavily landscaped.
is that the
It's-
old one?
it's the old
I'm
one.
wondering if
I don't think we designed
Nick
it.
ever designed that one.
I don't think he did. I think he did. Oh, maybe he did,
He,
but maybe.
you recall? If
I don't
Nick-
think he did. The previous design that we had several statues of the wolves and a lot of landscaping. It was very
Yeah,
ornate.
then they
very
found out that
expensive.
those cost a lot of money.
Yeah, it was pretty pricey. When I started with the city, the school had a fund set up to start this project and then the principal switched and the project got lost. So I can look up some old files and some of
Well,
that
he's-
information if that would help you.
Those dedicated funds, they don't know where they are, but they would come up with the funds to do the improvements if the city would allow them to do so.
Yeah, as far as
Yeah.
I understand, the roundabout was set up with that intention. But. I just
Which
think it
roundabout are we
didn't
talking?
happen.
Green Canyon High
Green
School.
Canyon? Is there water
Yes,
in that?
yep, water and power's in there.
Okay.
So if they bring a plan and I can present it to the city council, we can coordinate with Public Works. If they need water, I told them we might want to be in charge of that, but also ask them to be water wise in their planting.
I know the old plan wasn't all that water wise.
So
So I'll look through my emails, see if I can have one from Nick.
The old plan. I think I have it in my bag, so I.
No, I'm wondering
Oh,
from Nick.
How long we did, yeah. So maybe I don't know, we can talk about that later, but
Another resource would be our landscaping ordinance.
Yeah.
It also has references to water-wise plant lists from the USU extension. That'd be
Yeah.
a great thing to point them
Yeah,
towards when they're
that's
choosing
nice.
their plants.
So
what I had in mind too.
that's the water wise principles that we used in landscaping this.
Yep.
This one down here at Hyde Park Lane, which I think is just beautiful. But yeah, when they found out how much they were going to put a pack of wolves on that roundabout, they found out that they can afford one wolf.
Yeah, so, he said the kids in the welding class may work on making a sign that says Green Canyon High School or something that could be displayed there. If you want Hyde Park City on it, they're open to putting Hyde Park City on it as well, but I was like, we kind of have our entrance roundabout. I don't know if we want it labeled Hyde Park as well, or if you're okay with it just being Green Canyon.
We plow it, we ought to brag about it.
Okay, we can.
Unless
can
we don't
coordinate.
plow it.
We can coordinate on that, but that's what they're asking for.
Okay,
If the council and the
Let's-
mayor are open to that and the staff.
let's get together on that
Okay.
and see what plans we actually have. Cause I don't remember if Nick did anything.
I don't remember either. I remember the one in front of the middle school is done, but I don't know about the wolf.
It'll be in my email, so I'll pull that up and
Okay.
shoot that over to you tomorrow. And well, we won't talk this, the plaques.
I'll get details on that tomorrow. We'll talk about it next time.
Okay,
Yes, I do
Okay.
have a couple items. The safety committee a couple weeks ago asked Chief if we could get the speed trailer up on 450 North, vicinity 400 East. It was there for about 11 days. Anybody that lives in that part of town would have seen it. It was facing the westbound traffic, so traffic coming down the hill. And I'm sure if he'd been here tonight, he would have addressed it. So I just thought I would just point that out. Over the 11 days it was there, it averaged almost 2,600 vehicles a day
a day.
going. So about
East-west.
1,300 coming east and about 1,300 more going back up the hill. So a lot of traffic, having to figure out how to get through that intersection there. 43% of the vehicles were going at the speed limit or below. Almost 57% were going over the speed limit, which is really interesting that making the corner and then going up the hill from that, making that corner, the location of the speed trailer, that you could exceed 25 miles an hour in that short gap. But anyway, it happened. And the interesting note that it makes is that there were fewer people speeding when they could see the display. So if you're going over 30, it starts flashing. If you go too fast, apparently there was somebody going 64 miles an hour coming down the hill. But anyway, fewer people were speeding as they were coming down because they saw the flashing than were going up when you didn't see the flashing. And you would expect, that more people would speed coming down the hill. So, I mean, that's just evidence that seeing a reminder, flashing, slow down. I mean, it's good every time I drive into town there at the post office, just past the post office there on 200 West, there's the little reminder sign and, I'm going 27. It's like, okay, yeah, Dave, slow down. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. The other thing, about a week and a half ago, the Parks and Trails survey was completed. I believe there'll be something in the newsletter that will have a link to that and just a couple of highlights. And then we'll also follow up just this next week as it goes out in the newsletter with some other forms, I think through Pigeon and maybe an email that'll have people, so they'll have an electronic link. I'll just point out a couple of things real quick with that. Just a couple of key takeaways. The Lee Park and Pavilion and the City Office Park out here rated the lowest in all categories, so would have the most room for improvement. The top priority for all respondents is to expand and improve the walking trails. So out of all of that, and there was a lot of interest in obtaining easement rights to the areas along the canal. The majority of residents said they'd be willing to increase their taxes, not to something magnificent level, but for improved parks. Lots of comments about shade and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of good things in there that I think as we sit down and get a working committee going here that we could take action on in the near term, and other things that certainly are long range for a future Parks and Trails master plan. So anyway, those results are back, and we'll make sure that all the residents have access to all that.
I think it's interesting that, you know, people are talking about this park is out here is one that can have
Mhm.
some of the most improvement. And I think they'd be thrilled to know that we received $180,000 grant to put in new structures here, and we're looking to kind of tailor this for smaller kids and have that out here. There'll be a picnic area up near where our water well house will be.
New parking lot for the pickleball courts.
New parking lots on the north side of the pickleball. And
Yeah.
so
There were comments about needing more parking for the park, and also that they really liked the swing set, Mayor, that old fashioned
Mhm,
one
the
that
old one.
may not go back in. A lot of people really like that big metal slide up at Lower Lions Park. Please keep it. I think it's a throwback to the good old days when, you used to get a few bumps and bruises or burn your rear end, although you can do that on a plastic slide pretty well too. But anyway, lots of love for some of the old play structures we have in town. But I just look forward to working with the staff and the community and moving forward with, what we can with our parks and trails and things. So anyway.
I think being innovative as we've done, not sure if people have been down to St. George and you see those 6-foot wide slides that they have in some of those parks down there. We've installed one of those at the Legacy Park, and it's still in some cleaning up and stages there. We're going to see how that works for toddlers, smaller kids. It's a small one. And boy, Lions Park screams out for one. Maybe we've already got the built-in hillside. So that would be our next. Let's see how this one works. And the biggest challenge we have is, as we spoke in our last council meeting, e-motorcycles, and the hillsides and things like that. But I've been thinking about this since Chief brought it up at the last council meeting of, we always pass codes of what you can't do. We ought to be able to figure out a way how to coexist. Because back in the 90s, we were wanting to get the kids out in front of the Xbox and the Game Boys and get them outside and playing. And now they're outside and playing and they're driving us nuts. So how do we coexist and figure this out where they can do it safely and legally? Not the 13-year-old on e-motorcycle. But I think there's some discussion long-term with Alex on that one.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of other funding sources, in October, there's a grant that comes open for
I was going to ask
transportation projects. But if we wanted to build that into active transportation, such as a trail plan for the city or a bike lane plan, this grant can be used for that. It's a very low match percentage. I would like to apply for it for our Parks and Trails master plan. That's what I'd like to do, is schedule a work session with the city council and the staff to talk about the scope of work we want to put together to apply for that. I've talked with a couple different engineering firms about providing me sample plans that they've done to see if we can get some cost estimates and bidding lists together. But I think the next step would be to get a work session scheduled to go over the survey results and really drill down which details the city council wants to focus on for a study like that.
I think it'd be wise. I think it covers this too, painting lines for bike lanes.
Yep, that would
So
be an element.
I think we need to have something that would recognize and designate that for bike lanes. Maybe not every street, but we can have bike routes.
I spent a few years living just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, and Cleveland is kind of a weird place. But one of the things that they did really, really well is their Metro Park system. So Cleveland has a bunch of parks all over the city, but they're all connected by paved trails that cut through the big city and have these beautiful nature trails. And so you can get on your bicycle and you could go to like a Lions Park and then hop on a trail, and 10 minutes later you're at a different park with different amenities. And I would love to see something like that put together long term for Hyde Park.
Yes.
I always told people when I flew up to NASA Glen in Cleveland, I said, you know, the only downside is when you land, you're still in Cleveland. But,
Yes. True.
but Tiffany, you had one other follow-up.
Oh, yeah. So our upcoming group for seniors is starting on November 6th. We have a new group called the Front Porch. Anyone 55 and older is invited to attend. So spread the word for people that you know that might need some connectivity during the month. We'll have a variety of activities that's headed up by our Get Healthy Utah or Get Healthy Hyde Park committee that
Yeah.
operates under the Get Healthy Utah. And we'll have a variety, it'll cover a variety of topics, activities from health to, we have some nurses on our committee that have resources for people. And
Why do you keep looking at me?
I'm not, I want you to attend. I want all of you to attend. I would love any members of the city council and the city staff to pop in and just
Disqualify.
come and enjoy. Our first activity is a cooking demonstration and they will demonstrate how to grow edible mushrooms in your home on your counter in a really small Ziploc bag. They're like cooking grade,
Do something.
cooking grade mushrooms.
Not those kind of
Not those kind of mushrooms, but kind of a fun hobby and how you can use it in your kitchen or to
No.
feed your families.
USU is a co-presenter, so yeah, not
Yeah.
those kind of.
No,
It will be from 10 to 12 on November 6th, and we'll hold it monthly going forward.
it's not the flower shop in North Logan that's presenting.
No.
right? Okay.
That's
Should be
great.
fun. I think
That's great.
That sounds good.
Getting that started.
we're
And
excited
the
about it.
more the better in my mind
Yeah.
for those kind of activities. That we
Those are the
keep that
things-
going.
Connect
Residents
Yeah.
like.
within our community, help people
Absolutely.
get to know each other. So we're hoping it'll be well attended.
Okay. Marcus, Donia, you got anything for us? I would entertain a motion to vamonos. So moved. Got a motion.
Boy, I
to
can never,
adjourn.
nobody can beat you on that one, Kirk. I'll second it.
Got a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Thank you.